Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot for old lang syne?
Good morning, everyone, and happy almost New Year. For all of you who are celebrating Christmas, I hope you had a great Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And welcome to the Mayday Network. This is our Saturdays for Sanity show that Julie and I do. I'm Michelle Kinney. I'm here with Julie Roginski, who is joining us from South Florida.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, I'm staying at this hotel. It's a huge
Mhm.
hotel. We walked downstairs to try to get breakfast. There's only like 2 restaurants and for about 10 billion people. It's like a cruise ship, except with like 1 or 2 restaurants, and that's it. And so I just ran, as you could see. I'm not even like, I'm still sweaty. Didn't really run because I don't know how to do that, but I walked briskly to a Starbucks that was like literally a mile away, and then ran back, and I didn't count on
Yikes.
it. So that's why we're a little late. So I apologize, but yes, I'm all sweaty.
You're all right. Yeah,
I'm
I've
okay.
heard, is it hot there? Is it hot in Miami right now?
Really nice, actually.
Okay.
It's really
all right.
nice. Yeah, I mean, I think we've talked about how Florida's not my cup of tea. That continues to be the case, but it isn't. The weather is very nice, and I just left a big. My poor husband stayed back. And
Yeah,
he's
we got I'm out here on Strong Island, and we got a lot of snow
Yeah.
last night and then today.
Yeah, he is snowed in, so he can't. I don't know how he's going to feed himself. I left him a ton of turkey from Christmas, but that was Christmas Eve, but that's like 3-day-old turkey. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would be careful with that.
So
Yeah.
we'll see, and I'm not sure that he knows how to turn on the stove. So we'll see. We'll see what he comes up with. Anyway, so there you go. What's going on? Is it freezing out there?
I have not been outside yet. Although we were out last night, kind of before it got really bad. My mother-in-law wanted to go get some food. She was like, before we get snowed in, like, let's go out and get
Yeah.
something. So we got a little something at an Irish pub, and then came home, and we watched George Clooney's new movie, which I was like, I don't want to watch George Clooney's movies, but I was a good sport. And then woke up this morning. What's that?
Is it good?
Yeah. A
Okay.
lot of big people in it. It's called Jay Kelly. It's on Netflix.
Oh, yes, I heard about it.
Yeah, Adam Sandler, Emily Mortimer, Laura Dern, George Clooney, obviously. What's her face? I forget her name. She's Elvis's granddaughter is in it. And then also Bono's daughter is in it.
wow.
Yeah, they played, some of the younger women. But yeah, we watched it. It was good. It felt like a movie that was made for people that are in showbiz. That's kind of what it felt like to me.
I watched Elf, which I've never seen before. My son and I watched Elf. I know. Yeah, I'd never seen it before. He was kind of down on it because he's 13. I was a little bit less down on it. I thought it was okay. It wasn't like a holiday classic. I know. It was okay.
It is a holiday classic.
I mean, I know that it's supposed to be a holiday classic, but I didn't really feel
like I saw it 4 times in the movie theater.
Really? Maybe you were that age where you were little when it came out, right? I think I looked.
No, I was 21. I was 21 years old. I was stuck
no,
in
you weren't. It came out in 2003.
Yes, I was.
It came out in 2003.
I was 21.
Oh yeah, you must have.
I was born in 1982.
Oh my God,
I was 21 years old.
Well, maybe you have a little bit of arrested development.
I'm like, well, I was stuck in Syracuse between, like, on the break because it's my senior year in college, and I was doing a show at Syracuse Stage, and we had shows 6 days a week, and so we were snowed in Syracuse, and so my best friend lived downstairs, and she was in the show also, and so, like, if we had some time, she'd like, want to go see Elf again? And I was like, yeah. And so we would go to the mall and we'd go see it again. It was great. Love Elf.
No. Well, it was okay. It wasn't like I don't feel well. I'm very delinquent in never having seen Field of Dreams, as we talked about last week. I'm very delinquent in never having seen Shawshank, so I'm working my way up to them.
We got to find one of those people who have theaters in their apartment buildings and like go rent it out and sit in it. You know what I mean? I want to live in one of those buildings. I really do.
I've been in one of those buildings, and the problem with those buildings is the apartments themselves are not so nice. It's just
they aren't, and the walls are thin, and the ceilings are low.
It's the amenities that are really nice. But
that's what they get you.
Yeah, my son has a friend who has like a squash court in his apartment building. He's got like a bowling alley, but I don't think I haven't been upstairs, but I think the apartments are not supposed to be that nice. Anyway, so I am going to a Miami Heat game tonight.
Oh.
And then I'm going to a Miami Dolphins. I'm here with a young lad, so he's excited. I'm going to a Miami Dolphins game.
Okay.
Tomorrow. I think I'm going to catch up with your sister-in-law.
Yes. She got back last night. Her flight was delayed. She flew out of Islip, and her flight was like Uber. Yeah, I mean, she was delayed. I think she was supposed to leave. Her flight was supposed to leave at like 1:30, and she didn't get out until 5 or something like that. So she didn't get back to Miami until like 8. It was the whole thing. So, but she's excited to meet the Julie. I know. The Julie Roginski.
I'm excited to find some time to do that because, as I said, here's the problem. Here's my agenda while we're here. I'm going boating. These are all things that I don't do.
You did mention this. You did mention this.
You go out on a boat, and then they apparently put you in some sort of car that's also a boat, and you get to drive it.
A car that's also a boat, like Lyndon Johnson's car boat, like that?
No,
or is it like just like a water taxi kind of thing?
I think you're driving it though.
Okay.
I think I have to get a boating license. I was just told.
Okay.
The point is, this may be the very last time anybody here sees me because I don't know anything about boats or boating licenses. But so I'm doing that. I'm going to a Heat game, and then I'm going to a Dolphins game, and then I'm going to go back to I'm going to go back up north, and I'm going to collapse, and I'm going to go take to my bed, and I'm going to done with all of it. Great. No, it's not a tugboat, Cynthia. Cynthia said it's a tugboat. No, it's not a tugboat. I'll take pictures, but my understanding is that a boat, like a real boat, they take you out somewhere to sea. They either dump your body or they put you into a boat, like a car. And apparently it's a car that you drive, but it's on water. I don't know much more than that. I know it sounds very implausible.
Well, this is what I mean. Like Lyndon Johnson had a car that he would drive her, and then it would go into the water, and then it became a boat. Do you know about this? He's like, he famously had this like car boat.
Oh,
that's why when you said car boat, I was like, that's all I could think about.
Oh, maybe. I mean, this sounds like something I saw in James Bond. Like it's like a James Bond thing. Yes. Yeah. I will definitely take pictures, Jeff, whoever, Eileen. Yes, I will definitely take pictures. Zelensky might travel to Mar-a-Lago to meet Trump. I am in Miami, so I am about an hour and a half south of Mar-a-Lago. Has anybody ever been to Palm Beach? Can I just talk about Palm Beach for a second?
Yeah, I've been.
It's really obnoxious.
Yeah, I went like in like the normal part where like the normal people live. That's where I was.
That's West Palm Beach. That's West Palm Beach. I'm talking about specifically Palm Beach.
Oh, I mean, we drove through it to see where all the rich people live, but that's it.
Yeah. And it's very obnoxious. And then it's like it's kind of it's not my thing. It's not my thing. But what's interesting,
nice, but yeah, there's like it's just like a lot of like McMansions. You know what I mean? Like a lot of big houses, really big.
Yeah. So what I concluded is that so everything emanates. Have you ever been to Monaco? No, you haven't. But Joe's been to Monaco, right?
Yeah, he plays the World Championship backgammon thing.
Okay, so if you go to Monaco, you realize that all of these places emanate strangely from Monaco. Like they all emanate from Monte Carlo. So you go to like Rodeo Drive in LA and then you go to Palm Beach, and they're all kind of like the same. And
Why
you're
do you
thinking,
think
what is
that
this?
is?
What
Why
is?
do you
I
think
think
that
they
is?
all. I think they all decided that once Grace Kelly became like the big deal back in the 50s, that they
Yeah.
create their own little Monaco's because it's such an exclusive little enclave. And it's very strange, but it's all the same kind of aesthetic. And so that's my Palm Beach thing. I know the people in this chat live in Florida, so I'm so sorry. I know I'm always down in Florida, but like Florida, I was saying this to my son as we were walking our 27,000 miles to Stars just to get a cup of coffee, Starbucks. But like Florida used to be a normal state.
Mhm.
And then suddenly Florida, I don't know, it was like Obama. All of a sudden after Obama,
Yeah. It
when the
kind of
first time
went
it
to
went
the
crazy.
yeah. Yeah, because we used to go to Florida when I was a kid, like every year.
Yeah, we
I
did
mean,
too.
my grandfather lived in Zephyr Hills. My grandmother lived in Spring Hill, and then we would go to Orlando, and then we'd go home, and it was always like lovely,
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
I know. And now it used to be a swing state, and I don't know what happened. Like
I don't
what transpired? That cup of coffee looks so good, and I would so kill for one right
I
now.
know I texted Joe the order, and he made it downstairs. Bring it.
How long are you sticking around the in-laws for?
Let's see. We're going back tomorrow, I think. I
What are you
think
guys doing for
tomorrow.
New Year's?
We have a friend coming, a backgammon friend who's here,
Okay.
who's coming up from Houston. And then we're going to that concert and then we'll go to dinner.
Oh,
Yeah. And
where
then we go home to watch Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper. And because I really do, I look forward to listening to Anderson Cooper giggle in ways I cannot describe. I don't know why I love it. It's become the thing that I really enjoy. It's nice. Um, But yeah, I think and I was talking to Tara, and she is going to New Orleans, I think, because
ooh.
I think Don Lemon's doing some kind of New Year's thing. Because you remember he used to do like the
Yeah,
CNN New
yeah, yeah,
Year's
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And obviously he's not at CNN anymore. So he's like doing his own thing, like, but I think as part of the online thing, I don't know. She mentioned something about going down, and I was like, that sounds lovely. I'd like to
Okay.
be in New Orleans for so I was talking to her about that. That sounds nice. I was just thought of her because somebody in the chat was saying she's on Substack right now, which that makes sense that
Yeah.
she's doing her Substack thing.
Yep.
And also I just want to say while we're here, that thank you to all the new moderators on the Mayday Network
Yes.
because we pre-taped our show with Jeff Jarvis, which aired yesterday. And so I hopped on the app, from the Mayday account and like started tapping around and then realized that I could make some moderators. So I, reached out to people and I was like, if I recognize you or whatever, I don't know what I'm doing, but I could certainly use some help in the chat sometimes so that I can actually produce the show and not be monitoring the chat for bad people all the time. And so I really appreciate everyone. And I did give out my work email to everybody. So to reach out so that I can, contact everyone if anything happens, I can reach out to everybody. So I just want to say thank you so much for volunteering to do that. I'm very, very
Yes. Because what that means is that we're actually going to have time to do that, which is amazing.
Yeah.
To do the show, and we don't have to worry about crazy moderators who like. I feel like the more people discovered us, all of a sudden there's a lot of crazy here, which is I guess
a little bit more crazy. I think that just comes with the territory. I think so. Yeah. So
you guys, we are like completely blown away because we did that Epstein
no, the 60 Minutes thing.
60 Minutes thing. Sorry. Yes, the 60 Minutes thing a couple of days ago on Sunday, and we showed the 60 Minutes tape that they didn't want you to see, and all of a sudden we like doubled or tripled our Mayday subscribers.
More than I think like tripled. We're over 9,000 now. And it's so funny because like a couple months ago, I kind of put into ChatGPT. I was like, what would it take to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year? Like, is there any like special trick or, and it was kind of like, well, you'd have to do this, and it like seemed kind of hard. And so I was like, okay. But the fact that this has happened in the way that it has so organically is just, I mean, that's what I was saying to everyone yesterday in the chat. I was like, we are so grateful and really just honestly blown away by the whole thing. And, this is what we want to do. Like, this is what we want to keep continuing to bring you, you know, information and points of view. And like even yesterday with Jeff Jarvis's when we're doing the show with him on Fridays, we're going to continue to do that show on Fridays for as long as we possibly can. I know that he's really excited, and I talked to him briefly after we were taping. Julie,
I had to
you had
go. Yeah.
hopped up. Yeah, you had to go, but he was like, this has been really, really great. I've been loving doing this. So, we're gonna keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing
It's
it.
so
And
cathartic because he actually knows what he's talking about when it
yeah,
comes to
yeah,
sorry. Yeah, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to media, obviously, because he's a media critic and has been for a long
yeah.
time. And it's so funny because I knew him, but I didn't know the extent of his background. But the guy started Entertainment Weekly, and that got me sane all through college. Like that was my
Mhm.
little guilty pleasure, was reading Entertainment Weekly, which I used to come to my
Totally.
get in the mail.
Totally.
I get so excited every time it would come.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a roommate when I was in my mid-20s in New York that was like a TV junkie. Like she loved TV and movies, and I think she ended up starting some like blog or something. Anyways, but she always had Entertainment Weekly in the apartment, and it was like it was so because you know what, it felt like it was so fun to read, but it didn't feel like gross and gossipy. You know what I mean? But it just felt, I don't know, it was just like such a nice escape. I loved it. I loved reading that mags. But he said that he left when the other day, he said that he left for reasons that he no longer agreed with what they were doing. And I actually would like to talk to him
Yeah, I
more
want to know
about
what that
that
is.
because I want to know what happened if he's willing to talk about it.
Yeah.
Um,
You guys, I was thinking the other day, and I never write a Substack on Saturdays because I need one day off. But actually, I was thinking the other day that I think I understand what the problem is with Democrats.
there's
Generally,
one.
well, there's many. But I think I understand. We always talk about authenticity, and we always talk about like how you have to be authentic when it comes to who you are and so on and so forth. And that's all great and that's fine. Everybody's kind of on the authenticity bandwagon now, and that's all good too.
Yeah.
But what I realized is like we don't have joy in politics anymore.
There was a brief shining moment I felt there was. Remember well, you weren't there, but I was at the DNC the summer of 2024. And I will say, because it's my first convention, and my friend Eric Cook, who was on the show on election day, he was there. I ran into him and he was like, "Is this your first convention?" And I said, "Yeah." And he was like, "Oh, this is cool because the vibes are excellent vibes at this convention." And it really, remember that roll call where with the states and the music and like everybody had a flag and everyone was in the best mood, and it didn't seem like we could have lost to be honest, but it was fun. And I remember Meghan McCain tweeting out during all of that, she was like, Republicans can't compete with this because we have all the culture and we have all the joy. And then they beat us anyway.
They beat us anyway. But you know why? Because I want to say that for decades, the consultant class, and that includes me, although I think I've seen the light. I'm like a recovering I still consult.
Yeah,
like
I don't even put you in that category because I know a lot of consultants and they're all miserable.
Yeah. But my point is like, I used to be one of them. We've focus grouped and poll tested and throttled, we've throttled any spontaneity from our campaigns. And we were basically replaced common sense and human contact with such like identically mundane language. Like we keep referring to people, like regular people, as everyday people. Like how many times, like that started around Hillary Clinton. I guess somebody must have focus grouped and said, how do you refer to like regular people? And somebody said, you can't refer to them as regular people because that doesn't make them feel special. So you have to refer to them as everyday people, which is such a weird turn of phrase.
Well, it's like people who say real America, like they're from real America. I hate that shit. I hate it.
I hate that shit too.
All America is real America. Everyday people are people. There is no what's a non-everyday people?
And then like we refer to like Latinos as Latinx.
Yeah.
Like, who the hell? I don't know anybody from that. Like I don't know Latinos. Like
I feel like my Latino friends
let me know.
Don't like that. Yeah.
Like laugh. No.
Yeah. They're like, don't say that, please.
So and so like we basically forgotten about building connection. And the reason I'm saying this on Saturday is, and the reason I'm sort of saying this on the heels of us talking about how many new subscribers we've gotten is, like, as the year draws to a close, and I keep saying we're going to launch May Day officially in the early part of this coming year, which we are. But as the year draws to a close, I feel like this community, there's so much connection in it. Like, you guys are so incredible, and like non-stop, just insane community, and everybody is rooting for each other. We all know about each other. Like, we all know, like, we know the regulars here. We kind of know what you're all into. You guys will certainly know everything about us, because God knows we don't filter anything. And it's like a real connection, and it's wonderful, and it's great. And I feel like if we did that in politics and actually allowed people in, remember that politics is about building connection. That would be okay. Like, that would be great.
I totally agree, because there's like an essence of authenticity that I feel like people gravitate towards, not only in politics, but everywhere, right? I mean, I feel like celebrities, artists, people like that. And even, I mean, I had a friend who was like a interior design influencer, and she ended up leaving. She didn't want to do it anymore because she felt that there was such a demand for her to be herself that she didn't want to be herself. And she was like, that's not for me. I don't want to do that. But it's true. And I think it's because we're all kind of like starved for it, to like, you know, see ourselves in other people. And so it makes people feel a little less alone.
And I gotta give Trump credit, right? Like, I was thinking about this, because Trump, like, we all can't stand Trump, right?
No,
but there's a reason why his voters love him. Like, they know that he's a liar, because that's a fundamental part of his personality.
He's a real liar.
Well, but his hypocrisy is actually the most authentic part about him, right? They love his hypocrisy, because it means that he's like the roadrunner, right? Which is makes it possible for, you know, the libs to catch him. And since for them, sticking it to people like us is the most important thing for the politicians to do. They love that he's like, you can't pin him down, that he's a liar, that he's a hypocrite. Like, that's actually that's like the benefit for them,
right? Because it's the elites that like rules, and the elites have boundaries, and the elites don't like it. You know, the elites apparently like books and reading and knowing things, and Donald Trump says, no, I don't need to know anything, and people feel like they're sticking it to the man by doing that. And I'm like, no. I wish that people understood more that it's like they do that so that they can, again, consolidate more power and have the rest of us fighting amongst ourselves. Women in politics. Yes,
and
totally.
That's like women.
1000%.
Yes, totally true. But here's what I'm going to say about that. Like, as a woman,
I think that's generational too.
Yeah, but I'm going to say this as a woman. Excuse my very messy hotel bed there in the back. But that's true. But, you know, my attitude about this is, like, I am no longer, as you could clearly see, interested necessarily, and we don't do this on the morning show ever. Like, I don't, at least. Like, if I have somewhere to be, you'll see me in makeup, right? If I have nowhere to be, like, I roll out of bed, I brush my teeth. What you see is what you get, and then I'm going to take a shower after this is over, and then I'm going to get into some water taxi and decide to get wet. But my point is, like, I think we just all be ourselves, even of the women here, right? And if people are critical of you because of what you look like, or what you dress like, or there's too much Botox, or there's not enough Botox, or you're too fat, or you're too thin, or you're too this, or you're too that, fuck them.
I know.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I know. And like, the thing is, it's like, I wish sometimes, like, I wish I had the courage to roll out of bed and like have my hair and nothing, you know what I mean? And I don't go crazy with the makeup, but I always feel like I have to have something on. But I feel like that's my own issues with getting older. And it's like, you know what I mean? So again, as women, it's like we feel like we're held to a different standard. And so I'm like, well, if I don't wear makeup or do, you know, this, it's like, oh, you know, but if I was some schlub dude, I could go on never generating. You know, I sometimes look at these like you know, channels that are mostly dudes, and they turn on the camera and they're all schlepping on camera, and I'm like, man, like the bare minimum, and it's all fine and it's acceptable and nobody cares. I was like, I feel like I could never do that. Like, I could never do that. I
Well,
don't know.
here you go. I'm doing it right now, and I don't care.
Well, see, but you look at me. You always look great. You always look
Thank
great
you.
to me.
But my point is like, I just think I think my 2026 resolution, to the extent that I have a resolution, which I never do, but like to the extent that I have a resolution, is to continue basically doing what I'm doing now, which is I'm just like, listen, I wrote something last week that got people really pissed off. Like it got people
Which
really pissed off.
one?
If you're on Twitter, like if you go on Twitter, you'll see how pissed off people are. So I wrote that Barry Weiss, if she were
Oh, that.
yeah. So I basically said that she's Jewish, so this analogy doesn't make perfect sense, but let's assume that somebody with her mindset was living in 1930s Berlin, and you had people stumbling out of Dachau, basically saying, "Hey, this is what's going on in this concentration camp." She wouldn't publish it until she got,
Right.
Joseph Goebbels to confirm it for her, which of course,
Right.
So he killed the story. So
I mean, you're not wrong.
of course, so you could only imagine the crazy bullshit that all these MAGA people are like, of course, you're going to revoke the Holocaust. This is what you do, and you don't care. And like, my attitude about this is like, I just don't give a shit anymore. I'm just going to talk about what I want to talk about. I'm going to write about what I want to write about. I'm going to say what I'm going to say if I believe it. I'm not going to pretend that it's going to be anything other than what I believe. And it's not to get clicks, and it's not to get clickbait, and it's not to get subscribers, and it's not for any of that. Like, I believe this. And if you don't agree with me, you have several options. You don't have to read it.
Yeah.
You can go ahead and trash me for it, or you could ignore it. Yeah. Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
And, so my attitude about all this is like, I think that's kind of how politicians on the Democratic side need to just approach life generally. Because you got to give MAGA credit. They're not trying to be all things to all people. They're going full on nonsense.
They're barely trying to be anything to anybody except for, you know what I mean? They're authentically awful for themselves, and they just count on the fact that their voters just don't care. And it's all a means to an end, right? And because again, there's different parts of the conservative movement that are, you can't even say they're conservative anymore, but it's like the evangelicals and the tech bros and the people who just want to stick it to the libs. Like, there's a Venn diagram where like there's a little, meeting in the middle, where they all can agree that, they really just don't care as long as it's a means to an end to get what it is that they want. And unfortunately on the left, and I think that there's a fair amount of virtue signaling that goes on as well. And I know people use the word or the phrase purity tests, because I do think we have to have standards for the kinds of people that we want to support and put forward as candidates, right? We have to have standards. But, I do think that the virtue signaling and like the all or nothing stuff has to stop too. I think that like we cut our noses off to spite our faces a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what I mean?
My whole time, yeah. It just, I just like, I don't get it. I got to tell you, I used to work for Roger Ailes, and I think we've talked about how, well, I can't talk about it, but people might be aware that I had my differences with him. But he did say something that I always talk about. He always said the camera doesn't lie. And he's so right about that. You can't bullshit who you are. Like, the audience is too smart to know.
Yeah.
And
that's why Roger Ailes was so good at what he did. Whether you liked the product or not, like he was good at it.
He found people with personalities, and he put them on air, and you either like them or you don't like them. But the point is, you couldn't turn away. And
can you talk a little bit about the concept of the 5? Can you talk about that without
yeah. So Roger Ailes, so he said something. Do you guys know the show The 5, which is the big show? And it's not just the big show on Fox now; it's the big show everywhere. I think it's like the #1 show on cable. Anyway, so there's a show called The 5 that's on at 5:00 on Fox, and the reason it came about was because Glenn Beck used to be in that time slot at 5:00, and I forgot what Glenn Beck did to get himself. Either he quit or he got fired. I don't remember what happened.
He went out. He left to go start the Blaze or something, right?
I think so, but he kind of went out in a blaze of glory, no pun intended. Where like something happened where he had a big falling out with Ailes, either because he wanted to leave or he got fired. I don't remember. Something happened. And within 2 seconds, that show got replaced with a show called The 5, and it was on 5:00 at night. It still is, and it's 5 people just sitting around a table having a conversation about 5 different subjects. And I used to be on that show. So if people here know Jessica Tarlov, Jessie's great. She's the token liberal there. I had that gig before her. And Roger said something to me that was really interesting. He said, people think that I call it the 5 because it's on at 5 o'clock. And it's 5 people, but that's not
Right.
why I called it. I called the 5. I called it the 5 because I could go out on 6th Avenue right now, which is where Fox News is
News Corps
located.
building. Yeah.
And I could find 5 people and put them on, random people, pull them off the street, put them on the show, and the show would still be number 1. And he's right, because that show has had massive rotation, except for Greg Gutfeld and Dana Perino. None of the OGs are on that. Kimberly Guilfoyle used to be an OG on that show. I mean, so many people were OGs on that show. None of them are there anymore. And, you know, I think the point for him is like, nobody's indispensable, which is what he's trying to say to all of us who are on that show. But I think more relevantly, it wasn't that none of us is indispensable. I think it was more that, like, as long as I can find 5 people to fit 5 different archetypes,
right?
You know, that was, that was it. So that was the whole, and the archetype was, you know, the leading man, who originally was Eric Bolling, now it's Jesse Waters, which, one was the clown, which is Greg Gutfeld, still is. One was the girl next door, which was Dana Perino. One was, you know, so he called it Falstaff, which was Bob Beckel, who was a Democrat then, but it just became like the heel. So that was Beckel. Then it was Juan Williams. Then it was me. Now it's Jesse Tarlov. And, you know, our role was to be the heel. We understood it. And then there was the, you know, the bombshell. Like, you know, it was basically like casting Gilligan's Island, right? Like, it was basically Gilligan's Island, in the same way that you could have had any different actor play people on Gilligan's Island, as long as they fit one of those 5 archetypes. Like, it didn't have to be that professor who was on Gilligan's Island. It didn't have to be that Marilyn Monroe knockoff, right? Ginger could have been some other Marilyn Monroe knockoff. It didn't have to be, you know, Dawn Wells as the girl next door. It could have been any other girl next door.
Right.
And so that's basically what the 5 is. It's basically Gilligan's Island.
That's a really good analogy, honestly.
Greg
Gutfeld has, and the thing is, and we've talked about this, about the people on Fox News who, you know, they're all selling a certain product, and some believe it and some don't. And I think that Greg Gutfeld definitely is one of those people who's believing the shit that he's selling. And he's just such an asshole.
Greg Gutfeld doesn't believe one goddamn thing that
really?
he's selling. Greg Gutfeld has gotten fired from every job he's ever had except this one. And Greg Gutfeld was very anti-Trump until he realized which way the wind was blowing. And all of a sudden, Greg Gutfeld became the biggest Trump supporter ever, because he understood that if he didn't, he couldn't keep this going.
Right. And he wasn't talented enough to go be out. Like, and that's the thing, is his show competes with like the Daily Show and stuff. And I'm like, don't you have to be funny? Like, he's not funny.
He's got better ratings than all of them. He's got better ratings.
I don't understand. Well, you know what?
You know why? They all split it up.
30 Rock, right? 30 Rock was a brilliant television show that was smart, probably too smart for average people. I don't know, but like, and it was quick and it was fast, and the ratings were not as good as it was like 2.5 Men or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like, and that's just unfortunately how it is. And I will never understand. He's not funny. I mean, I've watched the clips. He's not funny and not smart. Like, it's not smart comedy at all. It's not even comedy. And like, I remember when he was on Red Eye, he had that show called Red Eye.
I was on it all the time.
Yeah. I mean, you were?
Oh my God, I was on Red Eye all the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were? I didn't know that. I knew people who were on that show, who did that show. Liberals. People I know still to this day. And you can go back and look at the clips, man. Yeah, that was on at like midnight or something, right? Or
no, maybe even later, at 1 a.m. or something. That show did really well, by the way. But the problem is, you know, without getting into Gutfeld or anything else, like, there are people at Fox who believe that stuff, and there are people at Fox who don't believe that stuff. But right now, I don't think it matters. Like, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Gutfeld's personality is that he's just a dick. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I hate that phrase, but he just is. He's just a jerk.
He really
is. You know, he's a jerk when it comes to Democrats.
He's a bully, and he's a bully.
He's a bully, and he would throw his own mother under the bus if that's what it took to keep him in the good graces of the people he's desperately worried are going to fire him and who made a lot of money for him. He's just a jerk. Like, I don't know what else to say. He's just a mean, nasty little troll. And
Yeah.
that's all you have to know about Greg Gutfeld. And I say that as somebody who knew him personally.
A mean, nasty little troll. I mean, accurate. And Jesse Waters just gives predatory vibes. Racist predatory vibes. Yeah.
Waters is like, his first job out of college was working for Fox News. He was Bill O'Reilly's producer, and then he got, again, another one who stepped into shit, right? This is so par for the course. The current leadership of Fox, she loves these D-baggy high school guys. Like that's Gutfeld, Waters, like that's who she's kind of promoting.
I don't get it.
So, they're all playing a character. Like they're all playing a character. Jesse really is who he is. Like that's really him.
Really slashing tires and all.
So.
But and I mean, and the thing is, it's like that's the world in which Pete Hegseth comes from, and it's. I listen. That network, I understand. People watch it and whatever, but the damage that Rupert Murdoch and Roger Ailes are doing to the American democracy and the psyche of like, a certain generation of small C conservative is just it's really.
What upsets me is that these people are all talking about Venezuelans, and they're talking about people from South America coming here. The people who created the most damage to this country are people like Rupert Murdoch, who came here from Australia.
Yeah.
People like Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, who came here from South Africa. And ultimately, Donald Trump, whose wives all came here, two of the three came here from elsewhere, and his mom also. So the point is, like, as much as they're sitting here being upset about poor immigrants who come here and are just trying to make it and be part of the American dream and insinuate themselves into the fabric of the society, it's the immigrants who are trying to change the fabric of our society, like Murdoch, like Thiel, like Musk.
Yes.
Like real dangers. Right?
Yes.
I mean, he and you're so right. Saltix, you said this, right? Like, Murdoch helped destroy the UK, and he's doing the same thing in the US. Yes. I mean, he did a tremendous amount. He came to the UK from Australia. He bought up all of these tabloids. He completely destroyed, any sense of cohesion in the UK. He's doing the same thing here on Fox. Thiel and Musk are taking this to an even crazier extreme with Twitter and all of their crazy shit. And suddenly, they're all sitting here trying to deport people from South America and Central America who are coming here, who are not trying to change the culture of society here. All they're trying to do is to assimilate.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough.
No. And did you see, by the way, that viral tweet that Stephen Miller wrote on Christmas? Did you see it? I mean, how stupid it was. Okay, let me read this. Stephen Miller, immigration advisor, architect of everything that's happening right now. December 26th at 12:03 p.m. Jewish, by the way, also. Watch the Dean Martin, Jewish and great-grandson of Jewish refugees to the United States. Okay. Watch the Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra family Christmas with my kids. Imagine watching that and thinking America needed infinity migrants from the third world. Oh, boy. Let's talk about this for a moment, shall we? Frank Sinatra's parents moved to America from Sicily in the 1890s when the southern Italian island was deeply impoverished. Dean Martin's father immigrated to the United States in the early 1900s from Abruzzo, a poor region in central Italy. They're both first-generation Americans who redefined what it means to be an American in this country and contribute to American pop music. My God, they're like the definition of cool, these guys. And Stephen Miller, I'm like, I can't tell if he's just playing stupid or if he is this stupid, but I actually think that he is. I think he is this stupid and this so out of touch and doesn't understand culture at all.
And by the way, and let me say this again, back when their families came here, the Italians were not considered white. And there were quotas that they were trying to, and I think I've talked on the show before how people like Tucker Carlson basically blame crime on people like Italian migrants back at the end of the early 20th century. So give me a break.
Yeah.
Dean Martin's name was not Dean Martin. It was like Dina. I forgot his real last name, but it was not Martin.
Yeah,
It
it
was like
was something else. Yeah. It
yeah,
was actually I'm interested now.
yeah.
Yeah, Frank Sinatra grew up in Hoboken. His father was a
Folk.
firefighter. Hold on, Dean Martin Wikipedia. Dino Paul Crocetti.
There you go.
See,
Yeah.
and there you have it. And there is like a PSA also about Frank Sinatra did back in the day about racism. I was actually trying to see if I could find it. And it was powerful, and it was about all the racism that was happening at that time against Black people and Italians and Irish people and Polish people, and like, it was about acceptance. And you can go and find it and go Google it. It's good stuff. And like Frank Sinatra was like a pretty diehard Democrat. Like, I mean, he was obviously
Not
very
really. He was
supportive.
incredibly diehard Democrat.
What's that?
Super diehard. Super
Yeah,
diehard
super
Democrat.
diehard. He's saying
Yeah.
Kennedy, 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 Kennedy. I mean, like,
Yeah.
hello. I'm sure part of that is too because he was friends with Jack Kennedy, but that's where I'm just like Stephen Miller again. Like, this is a young man who has spent his entire life being a crotchety old racist since the day of birth. And Sinatra, Miss Bing saying Sinatra supported the civil rights movement. Yes. Frank Sinatra, hold on, it's going so fast, was badass. Yes, he was.
I gotta get my computer's about to die. I don't know why I'm charging it, so I'm gonna get on my phone. So I'll be right back. Hold on.
Okay. There she goes. I want to see if I can find that PSA. I have my other laptop sitting here. If you guys know what I'm talking about. It's good stuff, and I feel like it pops up on my feed every now and then. And it just goes to show, like, I mean, these people want to, the people like Stephen Miller want to rewrite kind of what the history of this country is. And they want to paint it all in this light of having existed in a way it just never did. And why is this low battery? Let me see if I can open this here. I saw Julie for a second and then she went away again. Dean and Frank would not go on stage unless Sammy Davis was treated as an equal. Exactly. MAGA wants to rewrite. Let me just throw some of these comments up here. Marilyn Monroe doctrine. Let's see. Sinatra is Reagan's friend, though. Yeah, okay. I mean, but like, not to say that Reagan was a good guy. I certainly don't think that, but different time. It's not like being friends with Donald Trump or something like that. But let me see. There were liberal Republicans and Republicans weren't evil. Correct. Exactly. Sammy Davis Jr. We love. Again, Sammy Davis Jr. did that really famous episode of, speaking of Rob Reiner and all that, the news in the last couple weeks, did that really important episode on racism for All in the Family too. It was a great episode, a great scene that was being passed around. Let me see. I found the PSA. You did, John Winkler? You found the PSA? If you can drop it in the chat, I'll throw it up on the screen here. Because I'm trying to find it here. Sinatra racism PSA, because I just think that would be really cool to watch. Here it is. Found it. Yeah, it was very early on too. And also, if you really want to watch something very cool about Frank Sinatra, go on, I think it's HBO, did like a 2-part series on Frank Sinatra. And it's all about his life and his career and how he got into singing and everything. Are we going to ignore the Rat Pack's mafia ties? No, certainly not. But that's kind of like outside what we're talking about here, in terms of. Oh wait, hold on. Can you let me back in? I'm backstage. Yes. Hi, Julie.
Hi. I don't know what was going on. Sorry, my computer.
That's okay. Welcome back.
I'm very bummed about this hotel.
Yes. Hello. I'm trying to throw this thing up here. Let me see. I'm gonna let's see here. Well, I'm getting this up here. Are you a Sinatra person? Do you like Sinatra music, Julie?
Me?
Yeah.
My husband is obsessed with Sinatra, obsessed.
Is
So I
he?
have become a Sinatra person by virtue of being married to him.
Ah.
Yes, yes, I like Sinatra. I just don't have this obsession with Sinatra like my husband does. Like he loves Sinatra, loves, loves,
I
loves.
mean, he listen, I always find whenever I'm in Palm Springs, I'm always like feel like I'm being visited by the ghost of Frank Sinatra because obviously in his later years that's where he spent his time and
Yeah.
you know, there's all this lore about him. Um but I'm trying to throw this thing up here. Let me see here. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Share screen. The house I live in. Here it is. Now this is long, so I'm gonna hold on. I'm having issues here. Julie, can you talk for a second? Sorry. Oh wait, here it is.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Yes.
Why is this not working? Hold on.
What are you looking for?
I'm trying to throw this PSA up on the screen and I'm just having an issue doing it for a second. So I'm just trying to look at this while I do it. Share screen.
I will say this, like the one thing about Sinatra and D. Martin and all those people is that they were the opposite of racist, right? And you think about where they came
Mhm.
from, and you think about the fact that they grew up very, very Italian white enclaves where there was a lot of tension between poor Italian people and poor Black people who didn't live so far from each other, on often. But they were the opposite of that, and
Right.
they wouldn't play places if Sammy Davis Jr. wasn't invited.
Right.
And
Exactly.
that's why I think, yeah, and I think to some extent that's the problem. The problem here is that um you, you have people today who are exploiting people like Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin, who I would venture to say, if they were alive today, would be
Oh yeah,
aghast
absolutely.
at what Stephen Miller is doing. Like somebody should call Nancy Sinatra and ask her what she thinks. I mean, Nancy Sinatra is a
Oh yeah.
huge Democrat
Yes.
precisely because of the
Enormous.
way she was raised. Like I would love for somebody to call to call Nancy Sinatra and ask Nancy Sinatra what she thinks her dad would have thought
Mhm.
about Stephen Miller. And the same thing goes
Exactly.
with Dean Martin's kids.
Mhm. Exactly.
So I
Exactly.
mean, they're just this whole crew is so gross. They're so exploitative. The part that look, I think we've talked about this before. Like I knew the Kushners going back to when they were Democrats in New Jersey, and if there's one
So
thing you know about
weird.
the Kushner family, it is that they revere Joseph, and I think it's Joseph and Ray Kushner were the grandparents, right? So Charlie's
Mm.
and Murray's parents, Charlie Kushner's father and mother, were Holocaust survivors, and I think they met like hiding in the woods or something. But they are like they revere the grandparents. They revere the origin story of the grandparents. They revere the
Mm.
grandparents were Holocaust survivors. Like if there's one thing keeping them all together, other than their immense hatred of each other of this generation, is that they all worshipped the grandparents. And then I have to wonder what these grandparents would say about what Jared Kushner is enabling in Ukraine right now, which is
Yeah,
a
that's
genocide.
real. Yeah, that is so real. It is
And
so
that's the
real.
part that I don't, and that's the part that like I wonder what they would say. And I think the answer is, would they be proud of their grandson for doing what? I don't know, marrying well? I guess he married into the right family, which is the only reason why he's here. I mean, lest we forget, Jared Kushner, while his dad was in prison, decided he wanted to make a big splash in New York real estate. He was tired of being a little New Jersey shopping center,
Mhm.
garden apartment developer. He went and bought the Observer, which was kind of the cool newspaper in New York at the time.
Yeah, that's great.
Immediately ran it into the ground. I mean, ran
Yep.
into the ground. Storied newspaper that he ran into the ground. He then proceeded to become he decided to take all the money and basically put it on black and gambled on a piece of property called 666 Fifth Avenue, which was a completely stupid real estate move. He was incredibly
Yeah.
over leveraged. And then bought it at the height of the market. I think he bought it in 2007. Then, sure enough, a year later, the market collapses. he is screwed. The entire company that his father and grandfather had spent 2 generations building suddenly becomes completely like on the cusp of bankruptcy. And the only reason he got bailed out was
Mhm.
because entities tied to the Qatar Sovereign Wealth Fund bailed him out, which is Brookfield Properties.
The
And
similarities between him and
within
Donald Trump are endless.
insane. But I think what's interesting about that is before all of that was happening, Donald Trump was going crazy about Qatar, talking nonstop about how awful Qatar is, talking nonstop about how Qatar was, enabling all of these genocidal, horrible things. On the side of Saudi Arabia, which was at the time, I think, involved in sort of military action against Qatar. As soon as that negotiation started to take place, Qatar became.
Yeah, we're losing you a little bit, Julie. We're losing you a little bit. Yeah. Not really. But maybe like why don't you refresh, and I'm just going to show this thing really quick. Hold on.
Somebody in for a licking?
You bet. Wait a smear.
Yeah, but 10 against 1. That's not very fair.
Ah, come on. Come on. Yeah.
What's it all about?
It's your business.
Scared to tell me?
No, I'm not as scared. I'll fight you even.
Not if I can help it. I just want to know why the gang war.
We don't like him. We don't want him in our neighborhood or going to our school. I've been living here as long as you.
What's he got, smallpox or something?
We don't like his religion.
His religion?
Look, mister, he's a dirt...
Now, hold on. I see what you mean. You must be a bunch of those Nazi werewolves I've been reading about.
Mister, are you screwy?
Not me. I'm an American.
Well, what do you think we are?
Nazis?
Don't call me a Nazi. My father's a sergeant in the army. He been wounded even.
Wounded, huh? Say, I bet he got some of that blood plasma.
He was wounded so bad he had to get it 3 times.
Son, anybody in your family ever go to the blood bank?
Sure, my mother and my father both.
Uh-huh. You know what? I bet you maybe his pop's blood helped save your dad's life. That's bad.
What's bad about it?
Well, don't you see? Your father doesn't go to the same church as his father does. That's awful. Do you think maybe if your father knew about it in time, he would rather have died than to take blood from a man of another religion? Would you have wanted him to die? Would your mom want him to die?
No.
Look, fellas, religion makes no difference, except maybe to a Nazi or somebody as stupid. Why, people all over the world worship God in many different ways. God created everybody. He didn't create one people better than another. Your blood's the same as mine. Mine's the same as his. Do you know what this wonderful country is made of? It's made up of 100 different kind of people, and 100 different ways of talking, and 100 different ways of going to church. But they're all American ways. Wouldn't we be silly if we went around hating people because they comb their hair different than ours? Wouldn't we be a lot of dopes? My dad came from Italy, but I'm an American. But should I hate your father because he came from Ireland or France or Russia? Wouldn't I be a first-class fathead? Think about that, fellas. Use your good American heads. Don't let anybody make suckers out of you. Well, gotta go to work.
What do you work?
I sing.
Ah, you're a kid.
Come here.
So then he goes and he sings a song. But so you get the point. I just think it's lovely, and I think just in the shadows of Stephen Miller's completely stupid remark is just completely oblivious to the reality of the actual history of these people.
Yeah, I agree. The only point I was trying to make, sorry, because I know I got interrupted, or I interrupted myself here, and then I got to go get on this boat. Is that ultimately these people aren't capable of actually doing anything themselves. They're only getting places by grifting.
Yes. Yes.
Only thing.
Yep.
That is the only way to do it.
Yep.
And
Amen.
yeah. And so, look, ultimately, I think everything they've ever done. Jared got into Harvard because his dad sent $2 million to Harvard. His own teachers went on the record saying he didn't have the grades or the scores to get in. He almost bankrupted his own company until Qatar came and basically bailed him out. And the reason they bailed him out is because immediately on a lark, the Trump administration completely changed its attitude towards Qatar. He got $2 billion from Saudi, not because he knows anything about investing or because he's ever made money for anybody, but because the Sovereign Wealth Fund was overruled by MBS, who got his very nice, very, very, very nice White House state dinner and brought back into the community of nations after giving $2 billion to Jared Kushner. These people are all a joke.
Yeah.
These people are all a joke.
It's a stolen valor in every facet of life, whether it's the arts or education or military or whatever it is. It is all stolen valor. Nothing has been earned. Nothing is deserved. These people, they're scum. Honestly, scum.
Yep. They're disgusting. All right. On that note, I got to get on a boat. You guys, I'm so sorry that my Wi-Fi is so crappy and I'm going to go.
Yeah. Watch out for those gators.
I know. Well, please. I never thought about that. But now that you mention it, that's another reason to,
You're fine.
to wonder what I'm doing here in Florida. All right, you guys. I am, yes, actually, Eileen, you said somebody knew Jared or Jared's dad, and his dad was his here you go. Senior was horrible and corrupt. I don't know about them giving Jews a bad name because I don't want to, that's kind of a generalizing, but I will say that yes, Senior was not just horrible and corrupt. Senior ended up going to prison for, among other things, obstruction of justice, because Senior entrapped his own brother-in-law into having sex with a hooker on tape and then sent that video to his sister and his nephews so that it could be played at a family event. Man. That's what we're dealing with here. That's what we're dealing with.
Well.
Yep. All right. I'm not going to be here Monday. So you're going to be here Monday, right?
I'll be here Monday. Yep.
Okay. I'm not going to be here because I'm flying on Monday. I will see everybody back here on Tuesday. Good to see everybody. And I'm so sorry again about the abbreviated thing. I will let you know about how my drinks or lunch or brunch or whatever with Lieutenant Colonel Urso go, Michelle. And wear a life vest, Julie. I'm definitely going to wear a life vest, my friends. I am not a boating. I don't live the boating life. I live in New York City. There are no boats in my life. All right. Bye, everybody. See you later. Bye.
Bye.